Hello, and welcome to a complete guide to the most alpha form of exercise, to the gym community at least, the bench press. Whether you're new to the gym community or have been going for a while, this guide can help you perfect the form of arguably the most technically challenging compound lift. You might be asking why this kid thinks he can tell me how to lift. The answer to that is because I've done my research on correct form, and I'm an official member of the 225-pound bench club. I'm going to take you through three main sections of improving your form: the setup, the active lift, and common mistakes to avoid wall benching. First off, before worrying about the bench itself, make sure you do a proper warm-up. Now, jumping into the first section, the setup. Some important key points here are leg position, shoulder and upper body position, and grip. A common misconception about the bench press is that it's just a chest exercise, so people don't understand the importance of having a good setup and stability, which leads to bad form and high risk of injury, specifically in the shoulders. In an article from NASM.org, Brian Sutton, a 20-year veteran in the health and fitness industry who has an MS in exercise science, goes through all the muscles that have been proven through extensive research in literature to be active during the bench press. The agonist, or main muscle in the bench press, is in fact the pectoralis major, which is your main chest muscle that runs from right here under the shoulder across the midsection of your chest. The anterior deltoid, the front of your shoulder, the triceps, and the brachialis, a small muscle near your bicep, all work as synergists, which are muscles that work to aid other muscles in stabilizing joints. Finally, the abdominals, biceps, and multiple small muscles in the rotator cuff, which are also located in your shoulder, work as the main stabilizers. As you can see, there are a lot of other muscles active during this movement, which is why it's important to correctly position your body to support all the muscles involved. Jumping into the main section, as you can see here, my legs are positioned so that I'm able to push at an angle into the ground. This will be more important later when I talk about leg drive. Along with leg position, you can see me move my shoulders up, back, and down. When I lay down on the bench, I do the same shoulder movement to stabilize my lats and then drive my shoulders back, down, and into the bench. This is to give the shoulder as much stability as possible and put your upper body into a position to output the most force with the most stability. Doing this also results in a small arch in the back, which is okay. The main thing there is making sure your glutes stay in contact with the bench and that you don't arch too much. The next thing you can see here is me finding my grip. The idea here is to position your hands so that they are just barely outside your elbows. This is so that with a correct bar path, you are putting the most force possible through the base that is lined up. In this case, the base is your chest and shoulders up through your elbows into your wrists. In the case of something as simple as opening a door, your base would be your abs and shoulders down through your biceps and wrist. You don't try to open a door with a flared elbow or a bent wrist. It's the same idea here. You want everything to be lined up. Lastly, once you find your position along the bar, grip the bar extremely tight and think about bending it into a U shape. This will make sure that your lats and shoulders are locked in, and it'll naturally put your elbows in the correct position to set up a good bar path. The second main section of the bench press is the movement itself. The main points in this part are the bar path, leg drive, and bracing and tempo. Starting with the bar path, this is an example of a bad bar path. As you can see, my elbows are flared and the bar is pretty much going straight up and straight down. A correct bar path entails a somewhat curved path that could resemble an upside down J. The bar should go from right above your mid-upper chest with straight arms to touching right below your chest and then back up. Next up is leg drive. Leg drive is a relatively simple concept. You lower the bar down, and then on the way back up, you want to drive your legs down and out like you're trying to scoot back on the bench. This drives your shoulders into the bench and supplies stability and some extra force. The last thing in this section is bracing and tempo. Bracing is an extremely important part of any lift because it keeps your body tight and prevents instability throughout the movement. Touch the bar to your chest, and then while keeping your core tight, squeeze your glutes, drive your legs down and into the ground, in turn driving your shoulders into the bench, and breathe out forcefully on the way up and think about trying to throw the bar back up over your head. For liability reasons, don't actually throw the bar. Safely re-rack the bar and relax. Related to tempo, you want to make sure you lower the bar down with control, which means the eccentric, lowering part, should be about 1.5–2 seconds. The pushback up should be as fast as you can correctly lift the weight without losing control and overextending your elbows. The final thing I'm going to talk about is re-going over some common mistakes while benching. The first one is a bad grip and bad bar path. This one is especially painful to see because this can very easily lead to an injured shoulder or torn pec. In an article on bodybuilding.com published on May 26, 2021, Lane Norton, who has a PhD in nutritional sciences and is a professional natural bodybuilder as well as a raw elite powerlifter, talks about some common mistakes while benching. He mentions how he once tore his pec because his grip was slightly too wide and his elbows were flared too much. This goes to show that even the best of the best can get injured when they bench incorrectly one time. Another common mistake is bouncing the bar off your chest and incorrect leg drive. If you're bouncing the bar and your leg drive leads to your glutes coming way off the bench, this means you're not bracing and you're not controlling your tempo, which can lead to injury and simply just doesn't look as impressive. Overall, you can probably see that bench press is much more complex than people initially think. Now you know all the details and steps to having a good form. A proper setup, how to perform a safe, stable, and strong movement phase, and some things to avoid. Now you can go work on outbenching everyone in your gym with correct and impressive form, but stay humble because that makes it even more impressive.